Right. Hey everyone, welcome back. So as we wrap up our conversation here, depending, I guess, upon which videos you started out by watching, maybe this is one of your first ones here, but I talked quite a bit in this chapter about this idea of corporate social responsibility, as it says here on your screen, right? We've discussed this idea about corporate citizenship very I guess very casually up until this point without really kind of defining what it is. This last one, I want to take a little bit of time, just introduce this term of corporate social responsibility to you, help you define it, and understand why it's important for us in business. So CSR and corporate citizenship. So CSR just means corporate social responsibility, and corporate social responsibility, we can just wrap our heads around this as meaning, like these are going to be all the behaviors that basically make us as a citizen look at this company and think like, I feel pretty good about doing business with them, or wow, they do more than is required. Like, it makes me feel good to be associated with them. This is a good business kind of thing, right? It has to do with this belief in corporate research and application that our firms do have a duty in some sense to operate honorably. Now, what that matters, or what that means, excuse me, is very subjective. But operating honorably, providing good work conditions, right, to our employees, being a good steward for the environment, one that has recently seen a whole lot of stress, something that definitely was not as big of an element. Like when I was growing up, this was not even a part of CSR to my understanding, but now is a very highly stressed element, which we all understand why. It has to do with our firm's dedication to bettering the quality of life, not just for the people that work there, but for the communities and the surrounding environments around them, and just holding those same principles, on this pedestal and acting appropriately and honorably toward society at a large, right? And it can include tons of different behaviors we've got down here, right? Making sure they employ ethical standards, charitable contributions, supporting causes a lot, like we're seeing a lot of that. I'm recording this here in June, and like for Pride Month, in this sense, a lot of people calling out organizations now that they're like, hey, showing support for the Pride movement is not about just changing your logo to a multicolored background. It's about supporting things that actively put down those groups or actively work against their rights and things like that. So people are going to pay a lot of attention to which causes you support as an organization, who you donate money to, what you lobby for. But it's also about efforts toward helping the environment, minimalizing the negative long-term effects in the environment of doing business or like manufacturing, creating a good, positive environment within the organization as well that makes people want to work there, makes it a great place, and just kind of striving to make sure that they're building an equitable workforce that is diverse, that has a lot of respect for different things like different genders, races, national origins, and other important statuses about what makes us who we are. So CSR focused firms act, we can point them out. Very CSR focused firms, they act a little differently than like our traditional idea about what a business acts like, or their attitudes, right? And the biggest one, and I stress this when I teach entrepreneurship too, is this emphasis on the triple bottom line. Because for a long time it was the bottom line, profit. That's all there is to it. If it messes with profit, you don't do it, right? If it impacts performance negatively, no way, right? Any longer, we've kind of adopted this idea of the triple bottom line, right? And this says that, in fact, not just profit, but three things should guide our decision-making in business, and that is people, profit, and planet, right? So profit remains there because, of course, we can't escape it in business. This is a big element of doing business, is how are we going to make money, right? That's what profit's all about, plain and simply. But this people, or what we call the social bottom line, is basically this measure of our impact that our firm has on different social initiatives, right? our people, our employees, the people living around us. How does our doing business impact them? And how can we make sure that the impact that we have on society and the people around us is positive, right? And then finally, planet, or the environmental bottom line. Another thing that's become stressed very strongly recently is we have a responsibility, and CSR focused firms take this responsibility very seriously, that they have a responsibility toward minimalizing or making better the ecological impact that their doing business has on environmental sustainability, and making sure that it's not just profit at the end of the day, but we focus on profit, we focus on people, and we focus on the planet, and make sure that all three of these things are taken into consideration when we're making strategic decisions in our organization. So, of course, you're probably sitting here and thinking, like, it sounds great, but it also complicates things. It also means that it sure as hell isn't business as usual as we've been used to, right? So why should CSR be a part of all businesses? Like, what's in it for me if we're going to make these extra efforts to now take three big considerations into account, not just one? If we're going to focus on society, we're going to focus on our environmental impact. What's in it for us, right? Well, we have tons of research in this area. You can imagine this is a hotbed area for research, and CSR, we know, leads to increases in buyer patronage, which means you act like a corporate social responsibility focused firm, and you're going to have an increased number of people interested in doing business with you, buying things from you. This is going to increase, unit sales, and hopefully that means a larger profit for the organization. If we come back down to that profits idea, all these things link back. We found a lot of research that shows they do positively impact the traditional measures of things that we usually would look at for business success, right? When we have this strong commitment to CSR, it really strongly also for firms reduces our risk of reputation damaging incidents, lawsuits, things like that, loss in stock profits, all these kinds of things. And it really does yield a lot of internal benefits. We find we recruit better people. We have better workforce retention. People don't quit as often. It lowers our training costs, and it improves overall, with all of those things impacting the internal, the internal level of quality of individuals working there. Absolutely improves our operational efficiency and saves us costs, leads to better profits. Once again, it all comes around full circle. And when we really have well-conceived CSR strategies, it works really well in the advantage of our shareholders. And at the end of the day, right, that's what we should be really concerned about. How do all of our business decisions impact the strength of our shares, the profitability of our organization? We can see here, focusing on the environment, focusing on the people, our social impact, our environmental impact, all of these things, in fact, cause people to do business with us more, causes increases in the amount of units sold, increases in our profitability, increases in overall metrics of performance. So yeah, you may think it sounds a little bit more complicated and something we've got to invest an awful lot in, but there is a lot of research up until this point that shows absolutely it all pays off.